This isn't really a video about a building. It's about a man who spent his life washing dishes and cleaning bathrooms. And somehow, that turned into thousands of people giving up their own time to build this. Before you even reach the door, you take your shoes off. There's something about walking barefoot on marble stairs that slows you down. You notice the temperature of the stone under your feet, the quiet, the way everyone around you moves a little slower too. It's the first sign this isn't just a tourist stop. Everything you're about to see, the marble, the carvings, the garden we're standing in, traces back to one man. Everything I'm telling you about him comes from BAPS's own writing about his life, not independent biography, so keep that in mind as I go. His name was Pramukh Swami Maharaj. He led BAPS from 1971 until his passing in 2016. And over roughly 45 years, he's credited with building more than 1,100 mandirs around the world, including 2 massive Akshardham complexes in India that have drawn millions of visitors. Here's the detail that stopped me. The day he was appointed president of this entire organization in 1950, he didn't give a speech. He washed the dishes. And accounts describe him doing that kind of thing his whole life, quietly cleaning bathrooms even decades later, without telling anyone, just because he noticed they needed it. Think about that for a second. This was a man who, by the end of his life, was leading over 1 million devotees worldwide. And BAPS's own accounts describe him still finding a bathroom that needed cleaning, and just doing it himself, without an audience, without anyone asking. There's a phrase BAPS often attributes to him: "In the joy of others lies our own." I want to be honest. I can't fully confirm the exact wording or the moment he said it, but it shows up again and again in how BAPS describes him. And honestly, once you hear the dishwashing story, it doesn't feel like a stretch. Here's something I wanted to understand before I told you this was all built by volunteers, because that's not quite the full story. The carving itself, all that marble and stone detail, that's not volunteer work. At sister BAPS Mandirs, that carving has been done by thousands of professional artisans in India, skilled craftsmen using techniques passed down for generations, sometimes taking a full year to finish a single carved pillar. This is their trade, their livelihood, real paid craftsmanship. Where volunteers come in is afterward. Once those carved pieces make the journey from India, volunteers alongside professional stonemasons help piece everything together, like an enormous handmade puzzle. I don't have exact artisan or volunteer numbers specific to this Chino Hills Mandir, but at other BAPS Mandirs, that assembly effort has involved thousands of ordinary people donating hundreds of thousands of hours. So it's really 2 kinds of devotion side by side, skilled trade on one end and pure volunteer heart on the other. Both were necessary. Neither could have built this alone. One gave their craft, the other gave their weekends. Somehow, together, they gave this. So why would ordinary people give up their time for the assembly work when the carving itself was already being handled by professionals? BAPS's own accounts describe doctors, CEOs, engineers, people with every reason to feel important, voluntarily doing the most unglamorous work imaginable elsewhere in their communities. Cleaning kitchens, washing dishes, because they'd watched their spiritual leader do exactly that, without a trace of ego. One account I came across described a respected doctor in New Jersey, someone with a staff of dozens working under him, who spent years quietly cleaning the bathrooms of his local mandir after his morning prayers. Not because anyone asked, because he'd seen his teacher do the same thing. I still don't have an exact number of volunteer hours for this specific building, and I'd rather tell you that honestly than make one up. But standing here, knowing real people gave up weekends and vacations just to help put these pieces together, that's a different kind of impressive than just counting stones. So how does one man's example end up in Chino Hills, of all places? In 1977, Pramukh Swami Maharaj personally visited California and encouraged a small group of devotees to start meeting regularly. That grew into a small center in Whittier by 1984. It took 35 more years, through site selection in 2000, the Welcome Center in 2007, and finally this Mandir in 2012, for that one visit to become the building behind me. A seed planted by one visit, grown by thousands of hands. I actually got to see this philosophy in action, without even realizing it at first. When we entered the visitor center, a volunteer noticed my daughter was wearing a spaghetti strap dress and kindly offered her a shawl. It wasn't awkward or preachy, just quiet, genuine care from a stranger. I didn't think much of it in the moment, but looking back, that's exactly the thing this whole story is about. Someone noticing a small need and just taking care of it without being asked. After all that, the history, the philosophy, the walking, there's something almost funny about ending up at a café. But it felt right. If the mandir feeds something spiritual, this is where they feed you, literally. I watched several visitors walk straight past everything else just to order chole bhature, fluffy fried bread with a rich chickpea curry underneath. It's a well-known North Indian dish, and the line for it told me everything I needed to know before I even took a bite. Nourishment for the soul first, then the body. Seemed like the right order. So no, this was never really a video about marble or carvings or how many pillars a building has. It's about what happens when one person spends a lifetime quietly serving others without expecting anything back, and thousands of strangers decide that's worth their time too. 25 minutes from my house, that's exactly what I found. Not just a beautiful building, a living example of what patience, humility, and thousands of quiet hands can build together. Subscribe so you never miss a trip worth taking.